The bright flash appeared without warning. One moment, the night sky above NASA's Kennedy Space Center was clear and star-filled. The next, a massive ship hung in the air, its smooth silver hull reflecting moonlight. Jack Monroe set down his coffee mug and stared at the monitor. As the senior astronaut on duty, he had seen many strange things in space, but nothing like this. "Are we seeing this right?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The room burst into action. Phones rang. People shouted. Somewhere, an alarm blared. "It's not responding to any of our signals," said Communications Officer Peter Wells. His fingers flew across the keyboard. "Wait, we're receiving something now." The message that appeared on screen was simple. "We come in peace. Prepare a delegation. Coordinates follow." Within 48 hours, the world's governments had selected their representatives. Jack Monroe would go as NASA's top astronaut. Ellen Wright, a sharp-minded diplomat with 3 decades of international negotiation experience, would lead the small human team. "Remember," Ellen told Jack as their shuttle approached the designated coordinates high above Earth, "we represent all humanity today." Jack nodded, his stomach tight with both fear and excitement. "I never thought first contact would happen in my lifetime." Their small shuttle was suddenly bathed in light. A door had opened in what appeared to be empty space, revealing the entrance to a massive space station that their instruments hadn't detected. "Cloaking technology," Jack whispered. "They're way ahead of us." Inside, the station was a marvel of engineering. Curved walls flowed like water. Light came from everywhere and nowhere. The air smelled faintly sweet. They were met by tall, slender beings with blue-tinted skin and large, multifaceted eyes. The alien who stepped forward had markings that shimmered on its chest. "I am Zortak, representative of the Galactic Council," it said in perfect English. "Welcome to Harmony Station." Ellen stepped forward. "I am Ellen Wright, speaking for Earth. We come in friendship." Zortak's mouth formed what might have been a smile. "Earth has been observed for some time. You have reached the technological threshold for contact. The Galactic Council, 27 civilizations united in peace, welcomes you." The meeting lasted hours. The aliens explained their vast coalition, their faster-than-light travel, their peaceful sharing of resources. They offered technological gifts: clean energy, advanced medicine, faster computers. When the humans returned to Earth, celebrations erupted worldwide. News channels showed the same images over and over: the alien ship, the meeting, the promises of a bright future. But not everyone celebrated. At the Lunar Research Base, Dr. Olivia Daniels examined one of the gift devices under a powerful microscope. "There's something odd here, Sam," she said to her assistant. "These circuits, they're not just for energy production." Sam Winters leaned closer. "What else would they be for?" Olivia frowned. "I'm not sure yet, but there's a secondary system here that doesn't connect to any of the functions they described." Back on Harmony Station, Zortak met with the Council's inner circle. The humans accepted everything without question. Zortak said, "They are even more primitive than we thought." Another council member, Varlox, displayed a hologram of Earth. Such abundant resources. Their water alone would supply 3 systems. "And the humans themselves?" asked a third alien. Zortak's eyes gleamed. "Strong bodies. Adaptable. They will make excellent workers for the outer colonies." "How long until we begin the integration process?" 5 Earth years, Zortak replied. "We'll give them enough technology to make them dependent on us. Then, as always, they'll have no choice but to accept our generous offer of membership." None of the aliens noticed the small beeping device beneath the meeting table, the one that Dr. Olivia Daniels had hidden in Jack Monroe's watch, just in case their new friends weren't being entirely truthful. The countdown to Earth's greatest test had begun. 5 years passed quickly. Earth changed in ways no one could have imagined before the aliens came. Clean energy powered every city. New medicines cured diseases that once killed millions. Sleek buildings reached toward the sky, built with materials the Council provided. Captain Frank Summers stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, Earth's first true starship. Though built with human hands, it used Council technology for its engines and navigation systems. "Course set for Proxima Station," said his pilot, Ryan Garcia. "We'll arrive in 3 days." Frank nodded. The Horizon was the pride of the new United Earth Space Force, a goodwill vessel meant to visit various Council worlds as part of Earth's probationary membership. He didn't particularly like the term probationary, but Council representatives assured Earth's leaders it was just a formality. "Captain," called Lisa Bennett from the communication station, "I'm picking up strange signals." Frank walked over. "What kind of signals?" Lisa frowned. "They're encrypted. Not in any format we've been taught." She adjusted her equipment. "They're coming from all around us, Council ships talking to each other on channels they didn't tell us about. Can you break the encryption?" Lisa smiled slightly. "I already did. Before I joined this mission, I worked with Dr. Daniels at the lunar base. She developed a program that can decode Council transmissions. And they're discussing something called the Earth Acquisition Protocol. I can't get all of it, but they keep mentioning Phase 2 and resource extraction timetables." Frank felt cold despite the comfortable temperature on the bridge. "Record everything. Don't tell anyone else yet." Meanwhile, back on Earth's moon, Dr. Olivia Daniels and Sam Winters worked in a sealed lab deep beneath the lunar surface. "I've got it," Sam said, looking up from his computer. "We're in their main database." Olivia rushed over. For years, she had suspected the Council wasn't being honest. The strange circuits she found in their gift technology had led her to discover hidden surveillance systems watching Earth's major cities and military bases. "Search for other species," she told Sam. "Other planets they've contacted." Sam typed quickly, then stopped. "Oh my God." The screen filled with images of planets, dozens of them, and their native species. Each file followed the same pattern: first contact, technology exchange, resource evaluation, membership offer, integration, relocation. Relocation, Olivia whispered. Sam opened the file. Their faces paled as they read about entire populations moved to labor colonies across the galaxy, resources stripped from their home planets, cultures erased, all done legally under Council law once a planet accepted membership. "They'd done this before," Olivia said. "Many times. And we're next." On the Harmony Station, Zortak addressed the inner circle. "Phase 1 is complete. The humans now depend on our technology. Their leaders trust us. Phase 2 begins next month with the first resource extraction ships arriving at their Mars colony." "What about resistance?" asked another Council member. "Minimal, if any," Zortak replied. "We control their communications networks through the upgrades we provided. We have detailed scans of all their military capabilities. And if necessary, we can use weather modification systems we've placed in orbit to create natural disasters to distract them." "Perfect," said Varlox. "Soon Earth's water and minerals will supply our outer systems, and their strong population will work our mines on Drakon IV." Back on the UES Horizon, Lisa Bennett worked through the night, decoding more transmissions. "Captain," she called, waking Frank from a light sleep. "They're planning something big. Next month. Something about Mars." Frank stared at the decoded plans. "We need to warn Earth." "We can't," Lisa said, "not directly. All our communications go through Council systems." Frank thought for a moment. "Then we need to get this information home another way." He turned to his navigation officer. "Plot a new course. Tell the Council we're experiencing engine difficulties and need to return to Earth." "They won't believe that for long," Lisa warned. "They don't need to," Frank replied. "They just need to believe it long enough for us to get back into Earth's solar system. Then we run for home with everything the ship has." The race to save Earth had begun. President Diane Carter stared at the screens in the White House Situation Room. 3 major hurricanes approached different coastlines simultaneously, In California, a massive earthquake had just leveled San Francisco. Across Europe, rivers flooded major cities. "This isn't natural," she said quietly. Her chief of staff nodded. "The timing is too perfect, and our weather satellites detected energy pulses from those council monitoring stations in orbit before each disaster started." The phone rang. The president answered and listened, her face growing darker. "The council has offered emergency assistance," she told her team after hanging up. "They're sending ships with supplies and rescue teams." General Alan Rogers, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, leaned forward. "Madam President, I believe this is the beginning of their real plan." She looked at him. "I think you're right. But we have no proof, and we need their help now. Millions of lives are at stake." Within hours, council ships descended through Earth's atmosphere. They landed near disaster zones, unloading supplies and medical equipment. Alien rescue teams pulled survivors from rubble and floodwaters. News channels praised the aliens' swift response. Few noticed that for every medical ship, 3 military vessels also landed, or that the emergency bases they established contained more weapons than supplies. In the Oval Office, President Carter met with a small group of trusted advisors. "We received an encrypted message from the UES Horizon," said the Secretary of Defense. "Captain Summers has discovered the Council's true intentions. They've done this before to dozens of worlds. And Dr. Daniels from Lunar Base confirms it," added the science advisor. "The Council plans to strip our resources and relocate our people to labor colonies." President Carter's face showed no emotion, though inside she felt both rage and fear. "What are our options?" General Rogers spoke bluntly. "Military resistance would fail. Their technology is too advanced." "So we surrender?" asked the vice president. "No," said Carter firmly. "We buy time. I'll authorize Project Phoenix immediately." She turned to General Rogers. "Full activation, complete secrecy. Use the old missile silos and underground bases from the Cold War era. Nothing on networks the Council might access." "Yes, Madam President." Meanwhile, the UES Horizon was in trouble. 3 Council warships pursued them as they entered the solar system. "They're gaining on us," reported Ryan Garcia from the pilot's seat. Captain Summers gripped his chair. "Lisa, can you send the data package?" Lisa Bennett worked frantically at her station, not to Earth directly. "They're blocking all transmissions, but I can bounce it off the relay station on Pluto. It's old tech the Council might not monitor." "Do it," ordered Summers. As Lisa sent their evidence of the Council's true plans, the pursuing ships fired warning shots across their bow. "They're ordering us to stop engines and prepare for boarding," said Lisa. Frank thought quickly. "Plot a course toward the asteroid belt." "Full speed." "But that's suicide at these velocities," protested Ryan. "They don't know about the modifications Dr. Daniels made to our navigation systems before we left," Frank replied. "We can maneuver at higher speeds than they think possible." The Horizon accelerated toward the dense field of space rocks. The Council ships followed, certain they had the human vessel trapped. On Earth, Council peacekeeping forces began establishing control centers in major cities worldwide. Zortak, now calling himself Earth Territory Governor, addressed the United Nations. "These unfortunate natural disasters show how vulnerable your world remains," he said smoothly. "The Council has voted to accelerate Earth's integration process for your own protection." Few humans protested openly. Military leaders followed President Carter's secret orders. Stand down, appear to cooperate, save their strength. In hidden facilities across the globe, select scientists, soldiers, and civilians began disappearing from official records, relocated to secret bases as part of Project Phoenix. And in the asteroid belt, the UES Horizon pulled a desperate maneuver, slipping between 2 massive rocks with just inches to spare. One pursuing Council ship couldn't adjust in time and shattered against the asteroid. The others pulled back, temporarily losing track of the human vessel. Captain Summers looked at his shaken but determined crew. "Find us a hiding place in here. We need repairs." and we need a plan. The real battle for Earth's future was just beginning. 3 months into the occupation, Earth seemed defeated. Council ships patrolled the skies. Alien soldiers walked city streets. Resource extraction had begun, with massive ships carrying away water from the oceans and minerals from mines. In his luxury office atop what was once the United Nations building, Governor Zortak reviewed progress reports with satisfaction. Earth integration is proceeding faster than any previous world, he told his assistant. These humans are remarkably compliant. A junior analyst, Kreval, cleared his throat nervously. Sir, there are some unusual patterns in resource usage. Explain, Zortak said impatiently. Certain materials are disappearing at rates that don't match our accounting, and power usage in some regions doesn't align with population centers. Zortak waved dismissively. Human inefficiency. Nothing more. They're primitive compared to us. Yes, sir, Kreval replied, unconvinced but unwilling to argue. What Zortak didn't know, what the Council couldn't imagine, was that humanity was far from defeated. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a Cold War bunker expanded through secret tunnels, Dr. Olivia Daniels worked with a team of Earth's best scientists. The cavernous underground lab hummed with activity as they examined pieces of alien technology. I've got it, Olivia exclaimed, looking up from a disassembled Council communication device. Their entire network depends on quantum entanglement, but there's a fundamental flaw in how they process data patterns. Sam Winters looked over her shoulder. What kind of flaw? Their systems can't handle certain randomized sequences, the kind human brains create naturally. She pointed to equations on her screen. We can use this to create a virus that will temporarily paralyze their technology. Across the room, another team reverse-engineered Council weapons, making improvements the aliens never considered. Meanwhile, the UES Horizon had found something extraordinary in the asteroid belt, a hidden shipyard. Captain Frank Summers watched through a viewport as workers constructed vessels that looked like Council mining ships but contained human weapons systems. How many ships do we have now? He asked Admiral Grace Nelson, the commander of this secret fleet. 47 combat-ready, 18 more in final assembly, she answered. All built from materials mined here in the belt, using factories hidden inside hollowed-out asteroids. The Council has no idea. Admiral Nelson smiled grimly. Their scanning technology looks for power signatures they recognize. Dr. Daniels figured out how to mask ours years ago, after she first became suspicious of their intentions. On Earth's surface, resistance grew stronger by the day. What looked like surrender was actually careful preparation. In Chicago, Council guards patrolled past Linda Ward, a schoolteacher who smiled politely at them. They didn't know she led a resistance cell of 300 people, or that beneath her school, former students trained with weapons developed from modified alien technology. In rural areas worldwide, farmers used Council agricultural machines exactly as instructed, except for hidden modifications that diverted a portion of every harvest to underground storage facilities, building up supplies for the coming conflict. Council security officers grew complacent. Humans seemed so weak, so accepting of their new status. If someone disappeared occasionally, it was attributed to normal population fluctuation. Governor Zortak held regular meetings with human representatives, officials who nodded at his plans while secretly reporting every detail to President Carter's shadow government. In orbit, Council ships maintained what they believed was perfect surveillance of the planet. They never detected the small, stealth communication satellites humans had launched from hidden facilities, creating a separate network the Council couldn't monitor. One evening, Kreval brought more concerns to Zortak. Sir, I've discovered unusual patterns in human behavior. They're adapting to our technology far more quickly than any previous species. That just means our integration plan is working perfectly, Zortak replied. Soon they'll be completely dependent on us, and Phase 3 relocation can begin. Kreval hesitated. There's something else. Several of our security drones have gone missing near their old military installations. Probably just malfunctions. Replace them, Zortak ordered, turning back to his reports. As Krival left, Zortak never noticed the tiny listening device under his desk, or that his dismissal of the warnings had just been transmitted to every resistance cell on the planet. The time for humanity to reveal its hidden strengths was drawing near. 1 year after the occupation began, a secret meeting took place in the deepest level of the Rocky Mountain facility. President Diane Carter sat at a round table with Earth's greatest minds and military leaders. The room hummed with nervous energy. "It's time," President Carter said simply. "Dr. Daniels, please share your findings." Olivia Daniels stood and activated a holographic display in the center of the table. "After months of studying Council technology, we've confirmed their critical vulnerability." The display showed complex diagrams of alien communication systems. "Their entire network depends on quantum entanglement technology," she explained. "It's far more advanced than anything we had before first contact, but it has a fundamental flaw." She zoomed in on one section. "Their system cannot process certain randomized data patterns, specifically the kind human brains generate naturally. Our minds work differently than all other Council species." General Rogers leaned forward. "And we can use this against them." "Yes," Olivia replied. "We've developed a virus that exploits this vulnerability. When uploaded to their main communication hub, it will cause a cascading system failure. All Council technology will freeze for approximately 12 hours. 12 hours to free our planet," President Carter mused. "Where is this hub located?" Captain Frank Summers, recently arrived from the asteroid belt, stood up. "It's a massive space station called the Nexus. All Council communications are routed through it." He displayed its location. "Our fleet has identified it during reconnaissance missions." "And we can reach it?" asked the President. "Yes, Madam President. We have 72 ships now, disguised to read as Council vessels on their scanners." Admiral Nelson added, "But we'll need a diversion. Even with our disguised ships, a direct assault would be detected too quickly." "That's where the ground forces come in," General Rogers said. "We've organized resistance cells in every occupied city. On your command, we can launch simultaneous uprisings worldwide. The Council will have to respond, pulling forces from space to handle the threat." President Carter nodded slowly, then turned to a quiet man at the far end of the table. "Mr. Bishop, your role may be the most important of all." Kyle Bishop, a former cybersecurity expert who had once hacked into the Pentagon, just to prove it could be done, looked uncomfortable with the attention. "My team has refined Dr. Daniels' virus and developed a delivery system, but someone needs to physically access the Nexus central core to upload it." "A suicide mission?" asked the Vice President. "Not necessarily," Bishop replied. "If the timing is perfect, if the virus deploys exactly as the fleet attacks, there's a small window to escape." Admiral Nelson spoke up. "I volunteer to lead the infiltration team." "No," Captain Summers interrupted. "You're needed to command the fleet. I'll lead the team to the Nexus." "I need to go," Bishop insisted. "The virus might require last-minute adjustments. I created it. I should deliver it." After debate, the plan took shape. The resistance would rise up worldwide, creating chaos that would pull Council attention to Earth. Meanwhile, the hidden fleet would approach the Nexus, appearing to be routine Council traffic. A small team led by both Captain Summers and Kyle Bishop would board the station, fight their way to the core, and upload the virus. As the meeting concluded, President Carter looked at each person. "The Council believes humans are weak, divided, easily controlled. They have no idea what we're capable of when united against a common enemy." She stood. "In 3 days, we show them Earth's true strength. Our ancestors survived ice ages, plagues, world wars. We've climbed from caves to the stars through our own determination. And now we will take back our planet." Around the world, the message went out through the secret human network, Phoenix Rising. 3 days. In space, the hidden fleet began moving into launch positions. And in his office, Zortak received a troubling report from Kreval. Unusual power fluctuations detected worldwide, coinciding with decreased human work productivity. Run a full security scan, Zortak ordered, feeling uneasy for the first time since the occupation began. Something doesn't feel right. But it was already too late. Earth had finished preparing. The storm was about to break. The day began like any other under Council rule. Alien patrols moved through quiet streets. Humans walked with eyes downcast, seemingly broken. Then, at exactly noon UTC, everything changed. In New York, Council guards outside their headquarters were suddenly surrounded by thousands of civilians who moments before had appeared harmless. Linda Ward, the schoolteacher, led one group, all carrying weapons hidden under coats. "Now," she shouted. Similar scenes unfolded in Paris, Tokyo, Cairo, Sydney, every major city worldwide. Resistance fighters appeared from nowhere, overwhelming Council forces with surprise and numbers. Governor Zortak stared in disbelief at emergency reports flooding his screens. Impossible. How could they organize on this scale without us knowing? He grabbed his communication device. "This is Governor Zortak. I need all available ships to return to Earth immediately. We have a full-scale rebellion." In space, Council vessels received the distress call and turned toward Earth. None noticed the small fleet of ships approaching the Nexus station from the opposite direction. On the bridge of the flagship, Admiral Nelson watched Council forces respond exactly as predicted. They took the bait. "All ships, maintain course. Radio silence until we're in position." The fleet moved silently toward the massive Nexus station, their engines modified to emit Council signatures. Meanwhile, a small shuttle separated from the fleet. Inside, Captain Frank Summers, Kyle Bishop, and 6 elite soldiers checked their weapons. "Remember," Frank said, "we need to reach the central core. Everything depends on uploading this virus." Kyle gripped the small device containing humanity's best hope. "Once we're inside, I'll need 5 minutes at the main terminal." Their shuttle approached the Nexus, transmitting false identification codes. Council Transport 447, requesting emergency maintenance docking. "We have critical system failures." After tense moments, the station responded. "Transport 447, proceed to Maintenance Bay 12. The humans looked at each other, hardly believing their ruse had worked. The shuttle docked smoothly, and they moved into the station, dressed in stolen Council uniforms. They made it halfway to the core before alarms sounded. "They've spotted our fleet," Frank shouted as Council security forces appeared ahead. The humans took cover as energy weapons fired around them. The soldiers returned fire with modified weapons that cut through Council armor easily. "We need to move," Frank ordered. "Kyle, stay in the middle. We get you to that core no matter what." Fighting their way through level after level, the team lost 2 soldiers before reaching the central core, a massive chamber filled with glowing quantum processors. Kyle ran to the main terminal while Frank and the remaining soldiers held off Council forces at the entrance. "How much longer?" Frank called, firing his weapon as more Council guards approached. 3 minutes. Kyle's fingers flew across the alien interface. "The security is more complex than we expected." Outside the Nexus, the human fleet revealed itself, dropping their disguised signatures and firing on the station's outer defenses. Council ships nearby turned to engage, not realizing this, too, was part of the plan, drawing them away from Earth and keeping them occupied. Admiral Nelson's voice came through the fleet's secure channel. "All ships, concentrate fire on the south quadrant. Create an escape path for our team." Inside the core, Kyle shouted triumphantly, "Got it. Virus uploading." The terminal pulsed with energy as the virus entered the system. Around them, lights flickered. "Time to go." Frank grabbed Kyle's arm, pulling him toward their exit route. As they ran, The virus spread throughout the Nexus, jumping instantly to all connected systems through quantum entanglement. Throughout Council space, ships froze, weapons failed, communications died. On Earth, Council forces suddenly found themselves helpless as their technology stopped working. Their advanced weapons became useless metal. Their communication devices fell silent. President Carter stepped out of the White House, which had been used as Zortak's Earth headquarters. Behind her came soldiers escorting the stunned governor in restraints. "People of Earth," she said, addressing cameras that broadcast to the Human Resistance Network, "today we take back our planet." 3 months after what humans called the shutdown, representatives from all 27 Council species gathered in the United Nations building in New York. They weren't there as conquerors, but as defendants. The massive chamber fell silent as President Carter walked to the podium. Behind her sat Dr. Olivia Daniels, Captain Frank Summers, Kyle Bishop, and other heroes of Earth's resistance. "For too long," President Carter began, "the Galactic Council has operated on principles of deception and exploitation. Today that ends." Screens around the room displayed evidence from the Council's own databases, records of dozens of worlds stripped of resources, populations relocated to labor colonies, entire civilizations destroyed. "Earth is not the first world you've tried to conquer," President Carter continued, "but we will be the last." Zortak, still in restraints, spoke up angrily. "You cannot threaten us. You may have won a temporary victory, but the Council has existed for millennia. Your technology now belongs to us." Dr. Daniels interrupted, "and we improved it." She activated a holographic display showing the modifications humans had made to Council systems, strengthening the quantum network against the very vulnerability they had exploited, increasing energy efficiency by 200%, and developing new applications the Council had never imagined. Zortak fell silent, finally understanding the full extent of his miscalculation. "We offer you a choice," President Carter said. "Join a new galactic alliance, one based on mutual respect and cooperation, or face trial for crimes against countless species." From the back of the room, new delegates entered, representatives from worlds the Council had conquered long ago. Among them walked beings who had been considered little more than slave labor for generations. "We've already begun freeing your labor colonies," Captain Summers explained. "These people have chosen to join our alliance." The Council representatives looked at each other in confusion and fear. Their millennia of dominance had ended in just 3 months. One alien stood slowly, not from the Council leadership, but from a smaller world. "My people will join your alliance. We never approved of the Council's methods, but were too afraid to speak against them." One by one, others stood as well, until only the inner circle remained defiant. 6 months later, Captain Summers and Dr. Daniels stood on the bridge of Earth's newest vessel, a massive exploration ship named Phoenix. Around them, a crew of humans worked alongside aliens from a dozen different worlds. "Hard to believe it's only been a year since the Council occupied Earth," Frank said quietly. Olivia nodded. "They never understood what makes humans different, which is our adaptability, our creativity under pressure." She smiled. "And something no Council scan could detect, our absolute refusal to be conquered." On the main screen, a star map showed the 100 worlds now part of the Galactic Alliance, with more joining each month. Former Council enforcers now face justice. Former slave worlds rebuilt their civilizations with Earth's help. And in the Council's former headquarters, now the Alliance Center, a simple plaque told the story. "Never underestimate a species that survived its own history." The Council had brought humanity to the brink of slavery, never imagining that Earth's devastating revenge would not just free one planet, but transform the entire galaxy.